From time to time, I forget that games like Bubsy 2 exist. Bubsy 2 is so flawed, and I know that's like a typical cliché criticism line, but I'm amazed not by how flawed the game is, but by how many different flaws there are to this game. You're like a cat who's really... I don't know how to describe him. He doesn't do anything, really. Like, he spins when he jumps, like Sonic the Hedgehog, but the screen scrolls so slowly that if this is supposed to be a Sonic-style game, it doesn't work well in that sense. Still, it's playable, like, fairly easy, actually. It's not like that BMX game I tried a few videos back where I couldn't do anything at all. In this game, I feel like I can control Bubsy. It's just, Bubsy has to be controlled through a bad, boring world with boring enemies, and I assume he's not having any enjoyment from any of this, and neither am I. Every second spent playing Bubsy 2 is just another waste of another second. Every background, when I played it on the Game Boy player at least, was this black void, and I think that fits well. Like, Bubsy will jump high in the air and float and just be surrounded by blackness. Perhaps on the Game Boy itself this is different, but I kinda like it in the context of every problem this game has. This is like a soul-killing, repetitive, worthless, boring game based around a featureless, meaningless, personality-voided cat. Bobcat, maybe, I guess. It's not quite bad enough, though, for me to throw the controller down, or turn the Game Boy off, or walk away, or find anything really enjoyable about the game itself. It's just boring bad. It's like a drive through eastern Colorado, or a baseball game tied at one run that goes into a 15th inning. There's nothing there for you, but there's nothing there to hurt either. I've never played the home console versions of this game, so I don't know what the character of Bubsy is on the Super Nintendo. This isn't my first game that's been like this on this series, but it does throw a wrinkle into my perception of the game at hand. However, I have played Bubsy 3D, the sequel, and it's exactly as bad as consensus seems to say. In fact, I completely recommend that people play it because it does every little aspect wrong that a game of that era can do wrong. But each aspect is done wrong with so much intensity that it becomes fascinating, it becomes fun. Playing Bubsy 3D with my friends has provided me with some of the most fun I've had with any PlayStation game. Bubsy 2, in one sense, is not all that dissimilar. Every little aspect here is at least somewhat wrong. The level design is so simplistic that it becomes boring. The enemies are uninteresting and unvaried. The atmosphere that makes up this game doesn't look good on the Game Boy, and the music sounds like when I used to do jazz band and I'd have to solo, and I'd just play half notes on the root of the chord in lieu of actually improvising. But it's not like the worst music I've ever heard, or even the worst music I've ever heard on the Game Boy. And like that, this isn't the worst level design on the Game Boy. These aren't the dullest sceneries on the Game Boy. And Bubsy isn't the worst character on the Game Boy, believe it or not. Everything here is bad, but it's not so bad that it becomes fascinating, like Bubsy 3D does. I can't praise anything here, so it's just another unremarkable Game Boy game. It's not as bad as it could be. However, 20-some years after this game's release, playing it is much worse than it should be. Interesting.